Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judgment. I haven't done a panel for a while, probably since last Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. It is Sunday, and we're here to talk about Ekitike to Arsenal or Sesko to Arsenal. Conflicting news. Berta's working magic, as some Arsenal fans want to say, while some people actually banter Arsenal for not signing anyone, even though they announced Norgard, they announced Kepa, and they are about to seal the deal maybe for Victor Gyökeres. However, in the same time, in Portugal, the president said he's not going for the Arsenal valuation. So it looks like Arsenal might end up with Ekitike. It is absolutely insane. Liverpool are in search for a striker. However, Konate might be leaving the club this summer. Liverpool must sell him, and otherwise he's going to go on a free. So they replace him with Marc Guehi. Does that make Liverpool favorites to win the league? And Phil Foden is back to his best. Phil Foden is performing out of this world in this Club World Cup. Does that make Man City favorites? And also the new front three for Chelsea are Delap, Gittens, and it might be João Pedro. And is that enough for them to get top four? We'll talk about that as well. How are you guys? Number one, Souls, is this a new camera? I like this angle. Finally.
Yeah. I'm using a laptop instead now. So I invested in a Mac.
And your mic is absolutely not working. That's fine.
Is it not working?
No, it's perfect. Now it's perfect. Now it's absolutely perfect. Top notch. Das hasn't been here for a while on the channel. Big up, Mike, for joining us.
Big up. Thank you for having me.
And Matthias, the biggest guy to back Man City to win the title next season. How are you doing?
Not too bad, bro. Big up to Panama. Thanks for having me on.
Where do we start? Do we start with Liverpool and Konate and Guehi and our Liverpool favorites to win the title next season, and the Ekitike to Arsenal rumors and all this stuff, and how people see Liverpool as the team to win the league next season? And by the way, I'm not watching the PSG versus Inter Miami. That is a fucking dead game. I might watch Bayern Munich versus Flamengo later. It's 4-0 at halftime, and every single stat for Inter Miami is 0. 0 XG, 0 shots, 0-0. Everything is 0.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. They can't even get past their halfway line.
I'm actually not watching the game. But big guys, hit that like button if you are here now. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on the way to actually 40K now. So we cannot have about 300 people in the house and we're not even on 100 likes. So like the video underneath your video. People are saying Ekitike is now considered for Arsenal. I thought he was Liverpool target. Anyway, it's games.
Still only June. Well, about to be July. It's early still.
if Konate leaves Liverpool and they get Marc Guehi, where does that leave the defense?
He isn't leaving Liverpool.
How
At
is
the
he
end
not
of the
leaving
day,
Liverpool?
because allow me to explain. He has obviously he has 1 year left on his deal. We're not going to get fair market value for him. I only see two potential people who he would leave Liverpool for, one of which hasn't expressed any interest this summer in PSG, the other in Real Madrid, who aren't going to buy him if his contract runs out next season. It would cost Liverpool more to let him go than to keep him for next season and potentially go on and try to win a title. Because if we kept Konate and we let him go for free and we won the Champions League or we won the Premier League, we would make over £100 million. So at the end of the day, it is of financial benefit to keep him. Now, I don't even think that Marc Guehi is being considered to be a Konate replacement. I think that they're viewing Guehi as a 24-year-old leader who got Crystal Palace to their first ever trophy, and he could potentially be the guy who takes over Virgil van Dijk, because as we know, Guehi prefers the left over the right. Konate prefers the right. Now, there's also no guarantee that Konate will leave at the end of the contract. The reason why he isn't signing a deal, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I do believe that I think that he's underpaid. We pay him £70,000 a week. I mean, he makes 3 times less than Andrew Robertson made last year. I think his yearly salary last year was 3.64. Andy Robertson made like 9.6. That's just absurd. Konate deserves to be on 180 to 200K, but ultimately, we don't have to do that this summer. We don't have to get rid of him. And if we win a major title, we can let him walk for free, especially if you bring in a Marc Guehi. Because if I get Marc Guehi this summer, and then Konate leaves next summer, I still have Virgil van Dijk and I have Guehi, and then I have money to then go out and get another center back. Maybe someone who was like Konate when I bought Konate. Or you just go out there and you take that prize money and you buy a ready-made world-class absolute phenom. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make sense to let him go unless someone comes in with either a fair market bid or above market bid. Because
what is a fair market bid for someone with 1 year left on his contract that is injury prone?
Again,
see,
another reason why
only
another
Liverpool
reason
fans,
why
I like Konate. Guys, this is an open floor. Anyone can interfere. In my opinion, a fair market value for Konate is 70 million. That is if he has. Okay, now hold on. That is if he has 2-3 years left in his contract.
Yeah, not now.
If he hasn't been injured, if he's not been injury prone, if he played full seasons. But you gotta the fair market value depending on how many years left of the guy's contract, not how much ability he has. But if Liverpool get 40 million for Konate now, with 1 year left of his contract, you can actually invest that.
Hold on.
Fair market value
is
that. By the way, let me tell you something. Fair market value for Thomas Partey is 30 million. His contract is about to end tomorrow. That doesn't mean Arsenal are going to get any money for it.
I don't want to sell him under any circumstance. What good does 40 million do for Liverpool right now?
It does a lot of good. You bought Konate for 40 million pounds.
Allow me. If I sold Konate for 40 million pounds and I bring in Marc Guehi, I still got rid of Kwanzaa, which means that I still need to go out and I still need to get another center back. I would rather keep Konate, keep Virgil, keep Joe Gomez, and bring in Guehi, have 4 center backs, and then let Konate walk free, because that'll make me more confident that I can win a major trophy. And if I win a major trophy, that pays for the essential Konate loss, and I can go out and I can buy another center back. And I've got Guehi and Virgil van Dijk for the season after that. And also, that's no guarantee that he leaves. What if Real Madrid shit the bed? What if Xabi Alonso doesn't have any success? What if Liverpool have amazing success?
He's gonna join PSG.
Would you pay him if he's asking for 200K a week?
Well, listen, the reason why I think that perhaps it stalled a little bit is because this is his first season where he wasn't hurt for an extended period. He had 42 appearances in all competitions, 31 appearances in the Premier League. If I'm Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, based on the way that they think, to me, I feel like they're basically telling Konate, hey, amazing season. We won the Premier League, 31 Premier League appearances. I need to see it again. If I see it again,
you don't have that time to see it again. You don't have that time.
100%. But if I get rid of him, I'm shoehorning myself, and now I have 3 center backs, and I need to go get another.
Yeah.
It's worth more.
You have
I
a-
agree. I agree.
You
I
have,
agree. Your
hold on,
point.
hold on. You have
However,
an extra 40 mil to get another center back.
no, I agree.
Yeah,
Your
but
point.
he's not
Like,
ready made, and I'm trying to win major trophies.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we signed
I
Florian
get your
Wirtz.
point when you say that you would wait to see, but it would make sense if he had 2 years left, not with 1 year. Like, say for example, if he had 2 years left, 2 years in his contract, you kind of you could have played right. Okay, we want to give you an extend. We're going to give you a pay rise. However, let's wait and see how you do this season. Yeah, in terms of injury, if you go through the whole season just with the muscular injury that you only miss out like a week or 2, then you get a pay rise. But you don't have that time right now because his contract runs out
But
next
the
season.
smart way to actually negotiate that contract would be to make it appearance based, then, rather than it being kind of a. So you can say to him, look, we're willing to meet your demands, but we want to compromise here. We want to be able to say, like, are you going to be reliable? Let's make it performance or like appearance based, like a lot of players do, especially when players who have been through these sort of injury crises. A lot of clubs are now starting to say, if you can meet a certain number of games, we'll pay you your full amount. Otherwise, you're getting paid X amount. So for me, I actually understand the arguments on both ends. I think it's difficult to say how all Liverpool fans are going to react because of the Trent situation as well, where you were demanding that you wanted money for that, and then obviously he left for free. Is Konate not going to be a detriment if he also leaves for free? Because the way that Liverpool typically operate, obviously this is an anomaly of a window where it looks like you guys are looking to just splash the cash like no tomorrow. Normally, you guys are quite reserved in a sense of you want to sell to buy kind of situation, the sustainable model. Look, I could be wrong in what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, like I do see it as like if he goes for free, how confident are you that you can spend the money whilst also improving the squad elsewhere where you need to as well?
But
What
you
if you
also
let him
gotta
go?
remind
Hold
Can
on,
I add?
hold on,
What
hold
if
on,
you let
hold
him? What? The problem is, Mike, you are talking like you're gonna win the Champions League and you're gonna win the. What if you don't win the Premier League and you don't win the Champions League? Where is the money? Like you got the money now.
Mo, hold on. First and foremost, there's no offers for him right now. Like it's not as though PSG have submitted a bid. So first and foremost, there's no one willing to buy him for even 40 million at the current moment today.
Yeah,
Number
but there
two,
shouldn't be any offers if he's running out his contract. No one would bid for him.
fair.
They
Number
would just
two,
see what Trent did, and they're like, okay, let's wait.
even though we've spent a lot of money,
He wants to leave on a free. He wants to his intention is to play the next season and leave on a free to get a signing bonus. That is the intention of all the players nowadays.
Technically, we are still in the green based on the money that we made last year and the money that we have spent this year. And we still haven't even sold the players who we know will be sold. We know Darwin Núñez will be sold. We know Harvey Elliott will be sold. I believe the talks with Atletico Madrid and Andy Robertson have sort of kind of fallen off now. But you know what? It is what it is. To me, we still haven't even reached a net negative in terms of what we're spending to what we earned. Number three, again, I don't believe it is worth pushing him out the door to then go out and have to buy another center back when I don't even have Marc Guehi done. And right now, from what I'm reading, Crystal Palace are setting a price and Liverpool are saying that's a little bit too high. And we need to hear from what Marc Guehi has to say. Because if Guehi basically says, I'm leaving when I'm done with Palace, then Palace have to cash in now while they have the opportunity. There's too many questions that are going on right now. But to me, I have a better opportunity if let's just lay out the scenario like this. If I keep Konate and I get Marc Guehi and I win a major trophy next season, just one of them, I don't give a shit if he leaves for free. If I got rid of Konate, I bring in Marc Guehi.
You guys did with Trent, even though you won the Premier League.
Can I just say like
again, if I get rid of Konate, I bring in Guehi and I get like a 30-40 million pound center back and I don't win anything.
Do you not think that? Sorry to interrupt. Do you not think that even if Konate stays, you still light at the back? Because when you think about that, Konate is 24. Let's put just right. He struggled when he in the first couple of seasons with the injuries. However, he's still 24. Virgil van Dijk is 34 next week. He turned 34.
Konate's 26. Konate's 26.
Yeah, but Virgil van is it 26? But Virgil van Dijk turned 24 next week. Yeah, we just hoping, but you don't know how long he can go. He can perform to the highest standard, especially in the Premier League. However, even with the sale of Konate, where he went to Bayer Leverkusen, you're still short in that defense. Even if Konate stays, yeah, you're still short in there.
We have 4 center backs. Why do you need more than 4 center backs?
Would you counting say that guy? What's his name?
Joe Gomez.
Gomez.
If we bring in Marc Guehi, because now we've sold Quanta, which means we're buying a center back. It's happening. We also have a buyback clause with him, but that's fine. With Joe Gomez, Marc Guehi, Ibrahima Konate, and Virgil van Dijk, I'm perfectly confident in the cover.
Bro, you cannot consider Joe Gomez in 2025, man.
Joe Gomez doesn't have to start 20 games a season. Joe Gomez is there to play Carabao Cup games. Joe Gomez is there to play inconsequential Premier League games towards the end of the season. Like, again, Joe Gomez, when he had to do his job last season, came in and did his job. He got hurt, very unfortunate. But before that injury, I wasn't sitting here saying, Bambi on ice, ice spice, as Hussam would love to say. I wasn't saying that because he was doing his job. He was performing, and then he got hurt. And if a player gets hurt on the pitch, what am I supposed to do?
Players like that, though. Like, I mean, okay, I can hear the argument for Konate being fit this season, but who knows what happens this coming season? Injury-prone players can find their injuries again as well. So if you're going to go Joe Gomez, who's also injury-prone, as well as Konate, that means you are going in with the idea of Marc Guehi and Virgil van Dijk really being your starters. I'm saying, obviously, given that Konate doesn't get injured, then he'll be a starter. So you kind of, in a sense, are playing the lottery with them not getting injured.
Yeah, but the thing is that one of the main reasons why we brought in Arne Slot was because of the fact that he has one of the best injury records in all of Europe in all 5 leagues. And we had one of the best injury records last season. Almost every single one of our injuries came from on the pitch play. I don't have an issue if a player gets hurt on the pitch. I have an issue if a player gets hurt on the training ground. And if you go back and you look at all of Konate's injuries in those first 3 seasons, none of them came on the pitch. They were all muscle injuries that he picked up during training. We didn't have any of those. Everyone who got hurt on the pitch. And you know what? If a player gets hurt on the pitch, what am I going to do? I'm going to put my hands up, and I can't really control that. What I can control is the intensity that the player has when he's not on the pitch. Right? It does me no good to drive him into the ground on the training surface. I would rather, listen, and like when you look at the way that Konate got hurt, he got basically squeezed in between Endrick and Virgil van Dijk. It was a very unfortunate sequence where Endrick fell on top of his leg. It happens. It's the same way that Diogo Jota got hurt last season. He had a player literally fall with his full body weight on top of his shoulder. He gets hurt. Like, it is what it is. But Arsenal could say the same thing. What happens if Gabriel gets hurt? What happens if Saliba gets hurt? City could say the same exact thing. I
think there's a big difference between players who have shown reliability for multiple seasons. Then it's a bit like Thomas Partey. Let's just say we did obviously continue with Thomas Partey. I can't go into the season thinking, oh, he's going to give me another season. I'm actually going into it thinking we need cover for Thomas Partey because the likelihood is he's going to get injured this season.
Listen, maybe, but based off the precedent of last season, based off the injury record of our team, based off the fact that he had 31 Premier League appearances, to me, 40 million does not justify the risk at which I'm putting myself for getting rid of one of my center back partnerships, and I haven't even brought in Guehi yet.
Can I ask a question to the panel? Because clearly,
I agree with what you're saying.
You both think they should sell for 40 million. Let's play the scenario out. Let's say they do go ahead and sell Konate for 40 million. Who do they replace Konate with right now?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. They add money and they buy another center back. There is a lot of options.
Obviously, we're playing the scenario.
I don't know. They are targeting Hato. There is Branthwaite from Everton. There are players. I'm not saying these players are Konate, but Liverpool put themselves in this situation. Frimpong is not Trent in terms of creativity. Frimpong is a completely different. But you don't put yourself in that situation next year. What if next year? Because I'm going to tell you something. There is a different thing. There is a different thing that we didn't think about. Is that if Liverpool let Konate go on a free, everyone will know that Liverpool are desperate to get a centre back next season.
Hold
This
on.
season, they can. You're really desperate.
If we got Marc Guehi and we win the Premier League next season, then Konate goes on a free. How are we desperate? Because I'll just put Guehi next to
hold on.
Virgil.
So why are you? Why don't you play Guehi? Why hold on? So why don't you play Guehi this season? Why don't you play Guehi this season? Sorry, Matthias. Why don't you play Guehi this season and get someone else to cover for Guehi?
Okay, because what this window is telling me is that we're in a win now mode. We just got Kirkes, we just got Frimpong, and we just got Wirtz. They want to win today. What guarantees me winning today? Someone who I finished 1 point behind City with, went to a Champions League final with, who has been to a World Cup final, and who just won the Premier League. Right? Am I going to sit here, go get Marc Guehi, who just brought Crystal Palace and was a captain and was a leader, their first ever trophy in history, and am I going to bring in Jarell Hato to replace Konate and just assume that Guehi is going to be flawless with Virgil van Dijk? Listen, I think that Guehi will take a step up, and if we get him, it will be to compete with Konate. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to have to fight for that right-sided center back position. Who's going to start more Premier League games? I don't know. Maybe it comes down to fitness. But ultimately, that's the best position that I see that this club can put themselves in to win today. And if you know what, Konate has an injury, and all of a sudden he can't start more than 15 Premier League games, and Guehi comes in and we win the Premier League, is Real Madrid going to come knocking on the door and be with the same intensity that they were these last two seasons?
If Konate goes, yeah, and you bring in Guehi, would you still want to bring another centre half on top of that?
You have to. If Konate leaves and we bring in Guehi, you have 3 center backs. You have to buy another one, which then he's not going to be proven. He's going to have to be some sort of a project. I don't want a Lukeba type. I don't want a Hato type in terms of being my third choice, because that means that I'm now taking a risk on who my fourth would be, because then Joe Gomez would be my third choice because he's won 2 Premier League titles with me and he's won a Champions League with me, which means that he's more championship experience and he's not as much of a project. And I know that next to Virgil van Dijk, he has a proven profile of being exceptional. When we finished on 99 points, that was Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez. I'm not saying that Joe Gomez is going to be that same player, but I know that that player is somewhere within him, that he has that type of ability. So I don't see anything changing at the back line. I'm telling you right now, if we go out there and we sign a striker and we get Marc Guehi, no Liverpool fan is going to give a shit if Konate leaves for free next season, because we're going to be sitting here being very confident that we can win the lot. If you get me a fucking Ekatike and a Guehi with the rest of the players that we have, plus Wirtz, plus Kirkes, plus Frimpong, we're going to be very, 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 very strong favorites to win any competition that we're in.
I actually think that Liverpool fans have turned into, you guys, to be honest, you guys are so sure you're going to win a major trophy and you're not thinking about the money because the club is actually doing business and getting Wirtz and everything. You guys are not prepared.
What is 40 million pounds in 2025? What is 40 million pounds in 2025?
Lately, it has been like, when I'm not saying that, because they won the Premier League last season, because they won the Premier League last season, I see the ways like, oh, when next season, if you win a major trophy, because we signed Wirtz and we signed Kirkes and Frimpong, I actually think we are. Here, well, we can afford. Let me just finish. Let me finish.
No chest.
Like the way people thought, the way Liverpool fan,
they always do that.
He's talking about letting players go on a free. After they were complaining about FSG don't spend, this, keep the guy on a free, will win a major trophy.
There's no guarantee that he leaves. Like this is again, like the fact that people are sitting here a year early and saying that whatever happens over the next 12 months, he's going to Real Madrid. That is an absurd level of confidence in the future. Like no matter what happens, Liverpool could win a fucking treble and Real Madrid could go into catastrophe. It's okay, guys. He's going to go be a Blanco. It's all good. He's gone.
I mean, it's Real Madrid.
Okay.
You can argue they had a bit of a disastrous season. Trent still joined them.
Yeah, listen, 100%. But Trent had his own motivations. I don't know why the contract is stalled with Konate. No one does. Some people say it's because he wants to leave. Other people say it's because he wants more money. How the fuck am I supposed to speculate on that? I don't know what his motivations are. All I know is that Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards have been handed a pile of shit, and so far they've dealt with it masterfully. People last summer said that we were idiots for only buying Chiesa, and I sat here and I said it's either going to be the dumbest move in history or it's going to be pure genius. We won the fucking Premier League with 5 games to go. Pure genius. All we did was buy Federico Chiesa. We've come into this window, and if haters want to be like, oh, but, you know, Verts, I think you're overpaying for him. Bull fucking shit. All of you were sitting here twerking and wishing that he would go to City or Bayern Munich, and everyone loved him. Same thing with Kirkes, same thing with Frimpong. So how am I supposed to be not confident in my club, not confident in my organization?
Is Konate learning Spanish yet, or?
Maybe. You know what? He could be fluent for all I know. It doesn't matter, because as long as I win a trophy next season, I don't give a shit where the guy goes, because I'll have 180 million to go buy fucking Bastoni. Easy money.
By the way, the first of the Premier League gets 100 million or 100 something. The second gets like, it's only 10 million difference, 5 million.
No,
difference.
it's 172.
We made like 260 million pounds last year. We haven't even spent 200 million this window, and we haven't even made sales yet. We could spend another 300 million on top of what we've already spent. Not break FFP.
To be honest with you guys, I genuinely think that Liverpool should renew Konate's contract. But if the guy doesn't want to stay at Liverpool, and I gotta ask something, why doesn't Konate? I think the main question is like, why doesn't Konate want to stay at Liverpool? Seriously. Why doesn't Konate want to sign a new contract?
We don't know that.
By the way, if Konate, in my opinion, Konate is worth 150 to 200K a week in current market.
Yeah.
If other defenders do that, why? You got to ask yourself, why does he want to leave at the age of 26?
We don't know that, though. We don't know what the circumstances
are. It is reported.
Michael Edwards could be sitting there and saying, you've only had one season where you didn't get hurt. I need to see it again. Like, we have no idea. Literally none. But one thing is a fact. He is grossly underpaid. So is Luis Diaz, which is why I understand the attitude that both those players have right now. We pay Luis Diaz 50,000 fucking pounds, 55,000 pounds a week. Are you kidding me? One of the best left wingers in the league. Had his best season last year. I'm paying him pennies, literal pennies. Connor Bradley makes more fucking money than Luis Diaz. That's straight up insanity. Yeah. Ibrahima Konate on 70,000 pounds a week. That's just absurd. 180, 200K. I do it, but I don't know if they believe that he is the Virgil van Dijk replacement, because we have 2 more years left. And if you're looking at it, Guehi is a leader. He's Premier League proven, and he just brought Crystal Palace their first ever trophy. The man has ability. If he plays along Virgil van Dijk, who knows how good he can get, and maybe the club see him.
Is Konate one of the best defenders in the Premier League at the current moment? Who's he better than?
In partnership with Virgil van Dijk, yes.
Maybe Marc Guehi will be maybe Marc Guehi. I don't think Marc Guehi has Konate's ability off the balls, because Konate is quick, physically is very strong. I think Marc Guehi is better on the ball. How good is Konate for real? Like, how good? Is he like Saliba level, Gabriel level? Is he Gavardio level? Is he Diaz level? How good is Konate, to be honest?
If he's next to Virgil van Dijk, I would put him above those players. If Virgil van Dijk is not there, and it's Konate and Guehi, or it's Konate and Joe Gomez, or Konate and Kwanzaa, I don't think that it's a conversation if he's better than Gabriel, or if he's better than Rudiger, or if he's better than any of these other guys. I think he has to be alongside.
I actually think he's better than Rudiger. I like Rudiger is older now. We watch Real Madrid get torn apart all the time now. Like, Rudiger is not that guy anymore. Like, that is different. I'm not sure about Liverpool, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes with Liverpool. Going to the actual title race and Arsenal, all the stuff. I'm actually going to start with one thing. I want to get the people's opinion about the Thomas Partey leaving and having Norga. There is a tantrum that is being thrown. There's like people that are so upset about this. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big loss for Arsenal. If you remember correctly, I said that in the last show that Thomas Partey is their best midfielder, regardless whether they're getting Zubimendi or not. Thomas Partey is still their best midfielder, and you can see the difference that he makes. When they sign in Norgard, I don't get it, because like Zubimendi was the Zubimendi transfer has been going on since January, when they got knocked out by Man United in the cup. Then when they got knocked out by United, I think it was Fabrizio or Dave Donsey dropped the bomb back there and advanced Stokes. And then when they got knocked out by PSG, we got the Here We Go the very next day. So basically, they were trying to cover up both disappointments. But when they announced that, every Arsenal fans were convinced, right? Okay, next season this number 6 is going to be Partey and Zubimendi. Obviously, Partey is going to be still the main guy, but they're going to start introducing Zubimendi into the team because Jorginho is leaving. So basically, Zubimendi will be at some stage of next season will be the main man, but Partey will still play a big part in the team. So basically, they went from Zubimendi into the 6 and Partey being that cover, which was left by Jorginho. So now, last week, Partey announced that he's leaving, and they went to getting Norgard, and they start from what I've seen, the narrative of Arsenal fan base is like, oh, Norgard is to replace Jorginho. I was like, hold on a minute. You've just said that Partey, it was the Jorginho replacement when you bought, because Jorginho announced that he's leaving like months ago. That's why you were convinced that, it's going to be Thomas Partey and Zubimendi. So when you bring Norgard, listen, they were saying, oh, he's Brentford captain, his experience. Just because he's a captain doesn't mean you're going by him. Especially, you're trying to win the title in here. You're not trying to win Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, no disrespect to Brentford. But when you see the likes, like your two main rivals in terms of City and Liverpool, when you look at their midfield, they've got Rodri, Wirtz, they've got Cherky, Foden, Reinders, who look absolute beast right now. You just don't go, right, okay, let me just bring some experience out. Imagine if you go out in Ipswich, let's get the Ipswich captain, and you just you painted, oh my god, Premier League experience captain. No, they're not. These guys are not good enough. Honestly, they're not good enough. You're trying to win the title here, and you don't know yet how Zubimendi is going to adapt to the Premier League, because if I remember correctly, when we signed Rodri took 2 years. We were lucky to have Fernandinho in there, and Fernandinho was still playing a big part. But we were introducing Rodri slightly to the point that that position become of his own. But now what they found themselves into is that they have to play Zubimendi from the get-go, because they've got nothing else unless they move Bart into that midfield, into that number 6, and they bring an offensive midfielder. But I don't see them doing that. So it's going to be interesting, but I just believe that there's a massive drop in terms of the quality by losing Thomas. Not so much by losing Jorginho, by losing Thomas Partey and bringing Norgard, really.
I don't think there's no reason to say that it's an atrocious signing before the season begins, right? That's what people said about Endo. And then Endo ended up being a very integral part into Liverpool's last season, right? When Endo came on, the game was over. You knew it was won. You'd come in there, you'd make a tackle. Now, I don't think that this is a needle-moving signing, but if you lost Partey and you lost Jorginho, you need to get more defensive midfield cover. You have one of two options. You can either go out and you can buy a project, or you can buy someone who you think can fill that position, i.e., it's exactly what Liverpool did. We could have gone out and we could have bought a project, which we tried to do and we failed to do against Chelsea, or we could have gotten someone who is proven at a high level, who might be in his early 30s. Now, Norgard is 31 years old, but, to me, I think that if Arsenal are going to perform at their absolute best, it's not the worst signing in the world, but there's no guarantee that they do that after finishing second in 3 straight seasons. Now would be the time to get the needle mover, not the stopgap, right? So
For me,
it's just like I understand the anger. I mean, 35. What is the prospective bid of like 35 million pounds or whatever? I'm not sure how much it was.
yeah, but
Regardless, he's 30 years old.
You know
do
what?
you not
Like,
think that,
I
yeah?
actually think this
you not
is
think
just
that, yeah?
nitpicking.
Do you not think that? Let's say, for example, Thomas Partey is leaving. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Rather than going back, get another defensive midfielder, why don't you add more in terms of a creative midfielder or more a sort of box, like someone like Morgan Rogers, for example? At least you've got Rice. You drop Rice into that 6, or you bring in Zubimendi, but you've got Rice in there to cover for Zubimendi, and you've got a Morgan Rogers or an Eze, or then you've got another guy. Just add a bit more creative rather than bring someone a bit more defensive. Because last season they lack a bit of creativity, even when Odegaard was playing. Why don't you just like think outside the box a little bit? Because the game is changing right now. If you see like what Liverpool is doing, even Man City, like bringing the like of Cherky, technical players that can unlock box, especially when you play in a position with that drops deep. You don't need like playing with Rice and Zubimendi or Norgard. You need someone like who can think outside the box, someone who's more very technical, like Neze or Morgan Roger. You already got number 6 in Declan Rice. You've already got number 6 in Zubimendi. That's 2. If you add a bit more creative into that midfield, even if Odegaard goes out injured, you've got that creative player to replace him. Do you know what I mean?
Souls, it's for you, by the way.
I'm just listening because I don't know what I'm hearing. We've literally signed a midfielder to play our third choice, and we're having a debate about it. Like, what are we going to start talking about? Ortega and stuff like what's that? Scott Carson because he's the third choice City keeper. We're going to start talking about our youth keepers as well because like it doesn't make sense. I don't understand the outrage for Kepa and Norgard signing when they're not really there to feature in the games anyway. One of them is there to replace Jorginho. One of them is there to replace our backup keeper. By the way, David Ray never missed a game. So why I don't understand. I just don't get it. Zubimendi is to replace Thomas Partey. So let's not get this twisted and Norgard all of a sudden is the starting 6. That's not the case.
Why is he a third choice? Sorry.
Because he's
Who's the
there
first
to
and
replace a
second?
Jorginho. He's a backup.
Be Rice and Zubimendi
What's
with
that?
Odegaard up front.
So Rice is
What
your
was that
first
again? Sorry.
choice in the 6.
No,
Zubimendi-
Zubimendi is.
Yeah, okay. Well, you say that he's a third choice.
Yeah, because we're gonna go and get another DM. Or we'll go get another
right.
midfielder.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like,
DM.
Norgard isn't the purpose of Norgard is just there in case we ever do need him, or to play a Carabao Cup when we do need to rotate the team. Because one of the biggest problems that we've had is not being able to compete on all fronts because the squad is so thin. So if you go get someone who's like a Norgard who can play those kind of games, it's perfectly fine. He's had the experience, he's got the physicality, he understands the country, he understands the opponents that we'll be playing as well, and he suits the system as well. So I've got no problems with him being, a player that comes in just to cover in case of Zubimendi or a Declan Rice. Because what will actually happen is Declan Rice will drop in if Zubimendi happens to be injured or unavailable. And then you go and play your Mikel Moreno, so you go play another midfielder, whether we go and sign one. We're looking at, Eze coming in as well. We're looking at a Morgan Rogers. We've been linked to him as well. So at the end of the day, our business hasn't even concluded, and people are making mind-blowing discoveries of
who's the next
things that aren't
DM
even
that you're
happening.
buying? So who's the other DM?
Okay, hold
If
on.
we buy another one, we could go buy a Morgan Rogers, we could go buy an Eze, we could go buy a whole new different type of player. We could go and get a Gume who is a DM. So at the end of the day, look, I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. Kepa, Norgard aren't players who I give a shit to talk about. They're not going to be players who are going to feature heavy. They're not players who are really, at the end of the day, going to do much for the squad. They're just there to be fillers. They're there to replace, because we've not got Jorginho and Thomas Partey now. And also, I'm glad he's going. A lot of people may find that to be a nonsense. Zubimendi is a better player and people
disagree.
come
Do
to
you know
realize
why?
that.
Do you know why? Yeah, I disagree because one of the biggest problems that you faced last season was the lack of quality on the bench. Someone you can bring off the bench to change the game. For example, when you played Everton at home, you drew 0-0. You didn't have someone like of quality to bring that off the bench. Someone who can like, okay, make something happen, bring some magic. You're replacing bench players to like.
We go get Rodrygo. We've got Martinelli on the bench. We go get Gyökeres or Sesko. We've got Kai Havertz on the bench. There's so many different ways. That six isn't going to change the game. The six is nothing. If we go get a Rodrygo, Williams, or Liao, or Lookman, or whoever else we're linked to, they're all linked.
Yeah, just because you're getting linked doesn't mean you put in like. I feel like you are planning with the players that are not there.
Because
like,
we're linked to them, we're clearly looking at a winger.
Yeah,
we're clearly looking at a striker.
We linked to Rodrygo as well, but I'm not key at. Oh, we're gonna Rodrygo in there.
Is the window closing tomorrow? Like clearly, someone is coming in. Like I don't like. This is the thing.
Is
like,
it okay.
So then, okay, nonsense. Yeah, nonsense tour. Let's go. What's the point of talking about anything if we're just gonna sit here and go, well, you know, we don't know how the window's gonna play out. We don't know what Norgard's position is. We don't know if anyone else is coming in. So at the end of the day, it's such a nonsense point to sit there and go, well, you're linked to players, so nothing's going to happen. So if you're linked to players, do you not think that that's the priority we're trying to sort out? Striker seems to be evident because they're talking about it literally every 5 minutes. You know, now we're being linked to Etekite as well. A winger seems to be every 2 minutes. They seem to be linking us to a new winger. So clearly things in the background are happening. They're your level changes. They're your game changers. Norgard isn't. Zubamendi can be because he's a line breaker. He's someone who's a bit different to what we need. And he actually changes the entire dynamics of what we're going to do. And people with time are going to realize that Zubamendi is actually a much better acquisition than a Thomas Partey re-signing.
But I think the main criticism that people have is if you were to deep it, you didn't really need to get Norgard, right? Like you have Declan Rice, you have Marino, you have and you have Zubamendi. So you have technically 3 players who could play in that 6. You have Odegaard, you have Wanyeri, you have 2 players who could play in the 10. What you don't, how can I be so ignorant? You also have Kai Havertz who could potentially play there. Now you just spent, even if it's 25 million pounds. Let's just be pessimistic
it's about
here.
15 million or something. It's like 11 million pounds.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So 15 million, right? Not a lot of money. But if I'm seeing the news coming out that Arsenal are unwilling to pay the 80 million pounds for, 80 million euros for Gyökeres, why wasn't that 15 million going towards Gyökeres? Why are you buying Norgard for 15 million?
Because they need a DM, because Thomas Partey left. I'm going to have to step in here. I've been listening.
Mo,
I have a very simple answer to this.
Why
like
do you
to
need
shit on our...
Why do you need
people like
because
to
we don't
shit
look,
on
we
Arsenal
can
because
use players in the...
Thomas Partey have actually decided to leave the club, guys. Arsenal have Mikel Merino as the left 8, Declan Rice as the left 8, Martin Odegaard as the 10, and they have Zubamendi, and it was supposed to be Thomas Partey. And now Thomas Partey have not agreed a new contract with Arsenal, or Arsenal, because of the allegation. Let's not beat around the bushes. Because of the allegation, Arsenal, let me just finish, Matthias. Maybe Arsenal have decided we want to cut ties with this person. You know what I mean? And we want to get a new midfielder. And because they don't, let me just finish. They have one DM in Zubamendi, correct? Now, Declan Rice is going to play at the left. Declan Rice is going to play on the left, right? On the left 8. At the current moment, buying Norgard for 11 million should be a no-brainer for everyone at Arsenal Football Club, and the fans that are losing their mind over this. I understand if you're losing your mind over this because you don't have a striker yet or you're negotiating with Rodrygo. But otherwise,
why does that matter? The window has an 11 we haven't even played the preseason. Why do we care about the players that we're negotiating with? If the only point here I can lose my head is if we're getting to the final week or maybe the final 2 weeks of the window and we still have nothing, or we're approaching the first game of the Premier League and we have no striker or left winger, that's when I'd start losing my head. Other than that, I'm calm. Let the club do it. We can't sit here and go, Andrea Berta's this, Andrea Berta's that, Andrea Berta this, Andrea Berta that. We've got a 6 sporting director. And then as soon as he starts making his moves and actually doing what he does best, we sit there and cry about it. It makes no sense. Like, at the end of the day, Thomas Partey, for whatever reason, is going. Number one is money. Number one is what his agent demands. You're not going to start paying your part-timers more money than what they're actually worth. It's not going to happen. It's not how a proper club operates. You're not going to pay Luis Diaz more than Mohamed Salah because he's asking for it. That's not the way football works. That's not how we're going to operate as a club. Norgard, for me, I don't even know why it's a conversation. Like, he's not even a player who we're relying on heavily featuring. He might play the odd cup game, and that's about it.
And I actually have to, you know what? Arsenal fans have fell into the trap. Actually, Norgard is a good player to be a bench player to close out against. People talk about Norgard that he's worse than Endo, for example, or worse than Dewsbury Hall, or he's a good player. He's not a bad player. He's a good player. Is he a starter for a top 6 club? No. But is he a good player to be a backup and to sit on anyone's bench at the top clubs? Absolutely. Absolutely. If Liverpool have a starting DM and they buy Norgard to be the bench player for that DM, people would say, yeah, he's very good. He's better than Endo. But because it's Arsenal, people want to shit on them. To be honest, that is, I think, the situation.
He's not better than Endo.
He is better than Endo, and he has a Premier League experience more than Endo.
No, Endo has a Premier League winners.
Bro, let me bring Ches in. Ches, you have Lavia, Caicedo, Endo, Palmer, right? If I'm telling you, you're spending £10 million on Norgard to be the backup DM, because if Caicedo doesn't play, if Lavia doesn't play, maybe you can use Norgard. Is that a good enough backup for £10 million? Don't bring shameless Ches, bring objective.
No.
All right?
No, I'm being objective. Sauls, where do you think Rice's best position is?
The left 8 for us.
So Norgard plays as when Mendy gets injured, basically. Is that what we're saying?
Maybe, because Rice can also drop into the 6 and do a job. I'm just not saying it's his best position for the way we play. But I also do think we're going to transition into more of a 4-2-3-1 with Zubimendi and Rice sitting kind of in the base. So it's going to kind of change the dynamic of how that's going to work.
Yeah, if you change system, it kind of works because you played with that your first season. But the only problem is that if you just said it yourself perfectly, you said if Rice goes into the 6, that's not even his best position. Everyone argues, fair enough, by the by. But then who goes into the 8 if you still keep with that system? That's the problem.
But here's the argument that I'm trying to make is that because the window hasn't closed out, we don't know yet.
Yeah,
because
no,
in recent times, we've also been linked to Eze, for example. So that could be a plan that instead of actually bringing another DM in, let's just get a cheap, cheerful, can do the job DM this summer because we've got way bigger priorities in terms of getting the striker, left winger, and maybe a 10 is something that they're looking at now as well. So if Eze comes in or a Rodgers comes in, they can
Did you know initially put Kai Havertz to playing in that left 8?
Doesn't
initially, yeah, that was the plan, and it probably still is some part of a plan as well.
And also Mikel Moreno last season. So basically, you've got 2 left 8s in there. If you include Rice, that's 3. Why would you need another one?
True.
Different dynamics for different games.
Yeah, Kai
we're
Havertz,
only treating
dynamics than Declan Rice, wouldn't it? Also, Kai Havertz would offer different dynamic than Moreno.
Yeah, the Kai Havertz thing is actually quite a complicated issue. It's definitely caused a lot of problems because he was bought as the Xhaka replacement. Yeah. Everyone in their dog knew he can't play 8. But who knows why they made that decision cool. But
same with Moreno. That's why they both play.
I think a lot of people are misconstruing.
He's on 290k a week, and like there's no position for him, but there is one, but he's not best there. And that's the only reason why I answered the question about. I'm
going to be honest. I think people are very, very harsh on Havertz because Havertz has actually solved a major issue that we have, which is beating the big teams. As much as people may disagree with that, at the end of the day, since he's come in, and obviously Declan Rice coincides with that because he came in the same window and stuff, but since them two have come in, we've actually consistently been beating the big teams. I'm actually going into these games much more confident that we can beat the likes of Chelsea's, the Liverpool, the Cities, etc. And actually, we've had our first wins in like 5-6 seasons since these two players have come in. So I've got no problem with Kai Havertz. Our problem is more the low blocks, the teams who are going to sit and defend in the lower teams like the Fulhams, the Southamptons, those kind of games where we end up getting a draw and not being able to do a lot. So if we can then go and get players who can play that different dynamic, and I actually think Kai Havertz, it's misconstrued a bit with tactically what he's going to be doing. He's not really there to play the left 8. He's there to play a secondary or a shadow striker role, because people are so bogged down with on paper and where the player is positioned that they don't actually see how the game is being played out. He actually plays more advanced than anything. He's a late runner. He's a shadow runner into the box when the balls are being played in. He was never meant to be the Xhaka replacement. He was meant to be a different dynamic to the team of what he can bring and play like a 4-4-2 when the game's actually being played. And I think that's where the misconstruedness is coming into.
Hold on, Matthias. I need to do some of the super chats because they're related to Diallo here saying Zubamendi, Rice, then Nordgaard, the order of our 6. I actually agree with this. I think if Zubamendi is injured, Rice will step in and Mikel Merino will play. That is what I think. Or Kai Havertz if Arsenal buy a striker. So Nordgaard is basically the third the midfielder. Declan Rice. Declan can play superbly in DM in most games. A lot of people actually don't think that Declan Rice is a good DM. I know that.
That's what I asked, by the way.
A lot of people think, by the way, I think actually Arsenal fans don't see this because when they do shows together, they talk about Declan Rice being the left 8. A lot of people, I've spoken to Shez like for the whole majority of last week, Das as well. I've spoken to a lot of people. A lot of people think that Declan Rice is not actually a good 6 because he cannot pass the ball between the lines and all this stuff.
I think the reason is...
let me bring the next one. Guys, name the current Prem DMs that are better than Declan Rice.
Is he a DM now? I thought he was an 8.
That's Diallo saying this. Name the DMs that are better than him. We know that Rodri... DMs. Caicedo is a better DM than him. Who else is a better defensive midfielder than him?
Rodri, Caicedo.
He's probably top 3, top 4.
Exactly.
But the thing is, look, by the way, like, let me just clarify my stance.
I do want to turn this into Declan Rice conversation.
Can't play the 6.
I never called him crap. I just said where's he best player.
He's not the best DM.
No, that's not you. That's Don.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, it's not that he can't play the DM. I think when we're talking about the DM, it kind of depends on who you're playing. If you're playing teams that have got like a higher press and stuff like that, where the opportunities to go in behind are there, that's when, in my opinion, he doesn't really offer us the most. That's where a Zubamendi or a Thomas Partey are better because they can then play those kind of balls in behind and get the players on.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
But where Declan Rice is perfect.
My only problem is...
Declan Rice can't play with the back to go, can't he? Like,
my only problem is I don't really think Nordgaard. I said it was a downgrade overall because I think Partey and Zubimendi would have been elite in terms of midfield pairing. Assuming Zubimendi comes.
Can I ask a question, Chester? Can I ask a question on this? Partey, Jorginho, or Zubamendi, Nordgaard? I'm gonna answer the last one here.
That's easy.
Partey, Jorginho. Even though he's leaving for AFCON, he's been injured.
Yeah, no context. You gave me no context. You didn't ask me the context.
So no context. You think Partey, Jorginho is better than Zubamendi, Nordgaard?
Yeah, because I've seen it. I haven't seen the other two.
I agree.
We have seen Zubamendi play football, and we have seen Nordgaard play football numerous times.
No, but that's such a stupid argument. That's like saying Florian Wirtz is definitely going to be a flop. That means Shirky's going to be a flop. Reinders isn't good. That's just stupid.
We don't do extremes because we can be all day.
Oh, okay. Wirtz isn't going to improve Liverpool because we haven't seen it. That's just stupid. Come on now, like we can't do that.
We can't go to extremes. That's not it.
By the way, can I tell you something? Martin Zubamendi might not in Spain, might not be Wirtz in Germany, but it's not that far. Martin Zubamendi is a player.
I'm saying, assuming Zubamendi comes in and replicates what we saw in Spain. Then we'll be able to say he's better than Partey.
Assuming that Wirtz will replicate what Germany.
It's the same assumption. That's my point. We can be all day. Shirky's gonna flop. Why not?
That's why I'm saying you can't make that kind of like a. That's not extreme by my end. I'm just saying like if we're going to use that logic, then we've got to use it all across the board.
I'm being consistent because what my point is like we can use as much as we want like Prem proven and stuff, but we're talking about the team system itself. Forget the Premier League. We're talking about the team. We've seen players play in certain teams go to other teams and not work out the best way either in the same league.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to come in and flop. We're not going to the extreme of going every single player joins the league.
Are you expecting Zubamendi to at least replicate?
I don't know.
I'm asking your opinion.
I genuinely don't know.
I actually think, I'm going to tell you my train of thoughts. I actually think Mikel Arteta's system suits Zubamendi to the T. Slow, a lot of passes around. They don't play frantic football. And I think he's Spanish, so he's going to be embedding him in the team very easy. I genuinely think Zubamendi will be able to replicate exactly what we've seen with Spain in Arsenal.
So your prediction
say
is,
that.
let's make it clear for the record, you think Zubamendi is being better than Partey last season?
No,
I think so. I'll say
no,
it. Yeah.
no. Okay, no. I actually think they're completely different players, and I think Partey last season, and I said that, over 38 games in the Premier League, Partey has been better than Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, of course. Partey has been better than Declan Rice. Declan Rice has ended the season well, but if you look at the whole season, Thomas Partey has been their best midfielder.
Yeah, we agree, but let's
the whole season. For Zubamendi, I think Zubamendi is going to be better for Arsenal because he releases Martin Odegaard to go forward.
So their midfield's going to improve with Zubamendi?
Yes.
Fair enough. That's your opinion.
I actually think that Martin Odegaard is going to actually be released because Zubamendi is going to do what Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard.
Was Thomas Partey locking him up?
I'm gonna say that.
Are you saying that Thomas Partey was locking him up?
No, but I'm gonna tell you what happened to Arsenal. What happened to Arsenal last season is Martin Odegaard literally dropped between the two defenders to receive the ball. That's not gonna happen when Zubamendi plays.
It will.
Every single game. Why will it Zubamendi?
It will. Why? Because see, there are certain types of players that they play. That's the way he plays.
He didn't play.
No. He legit has only done that for us once.
Let me finish. When he drops deep, it's because he's trying to get involved more into the game. It's not because he wants to be there. Yeah. If you play lower block, doesn't matter whether Zubamendi is there. If Marc Guehi feels like I haven't touched enough of the ball, he automatically, when you're midfielder, you will drop deep just to be more part of the game. It's not because he wants to. Yeah, if you play an Everton at home where it's 10 men behind the ball, if Marc Guehi goes 5 minutes without seeing the ball, he will tend to drop deep. It's not because he wants to. Not all of a sudden Zubamendi is there, he will just think, no, that's not how football works. You see wingers, they tend to drop it because they haven't seen the ball for the number of minutes.
Have you seen the way Zubamendi plays? There is no chance Odegaard's coming deep.
You don't get it. You don't get it.
Because there's nothing to get. You're not making a valid point here.
No.
Okay. Let's just play your scenario out. Why are Zubamendi and Odegaard? What they're going to do? Hold hands because they're going to be in the same place if you drop.
Even when Rodri is there, the games where De Bruyne tends to drop deep because he's not getting too much shots to the ball. That's just automatic. That's just midfielders. That's what they do.
Guess what? It'll be Rice who drops that deep because he'll be playing kind of side by side with him. It won't be Odegaard next season. Odegaard is going to be a lot more advanced because of the way that the system's going to play out.
So,
you know what the problem is, Souls? And I think all the panel, including myself, we actually shared the same. Even if he's up front and release, is he going to be able to replicate what he did 2 seasons ago? He might not be. He might be released to be front, but just be a flop again and have a shit season, shy away from the ball, not create. Maybe he's going to be that guy. I don't know.
We don't need to worry about that because Rodrygo and Sesko, the deal is closed. You put that in the title.
The deal is closed.
They'll help.
The deal is closed for Rodrygo. Literally, the president of Real Madrid said that if anybody wants to leave, that is today. If they bring us the money that we want, we'll let him go. That is the definition of
that means the deal is closed then.
It's closed. Do you know what close is? Close is closed.
Closed.
I never said closed. I never said closed.
He is saying closed.
I never said close. I said close. Sesko, for example, it is close. Are you trying to rage bait me?
Yes.
He is actually trying to rage bait me, bro.
No, I'm just asking simple questions, isn't it?
Anyway, agreement done. Let me do a couple of these super chats. Mo, check your DMs on X, how Liverpool wages. So I actually checked. Liverpool have spent 4 billion on wages since FSG. However, their wage to revenue is actually less than Chelsea. Their wage to revenue is less than Chelsea.
Why'd you bring my club?
Because your club spend a lot of money as well, and your wages are high.
Spend a lot of money. What are you doing, man?
You spend a lot of money, so
Win a lot of trophies.
if they paying key players so low, so high bill, I don't know, but they're paying a lot of players. I've paid a lot of players a lot of money. I don't know, Diallo. I need to do more on this, to be honest. Stop disrespecting Endo. He's brilliant for us. Absolutely. Endo was a great player for Liverpool. He contributed 240 minutes for Liverpool title winning campaign last season.
240 crucial minutes. 240 crucial minutes.
260 minutes in. Absolutely.
Crucial.
He didn't even.
Crucial minutes.
That together is not even 3 games.
Yeah,
and
but
people
that's still a crucial amount of time.
260 minutes. My man, I can't read the name because of fucking StreamYard and YouTube have fucked up the names. But can you guys read the names, or it's only me?
It's
like
Lord
it's ad
Joe's,
now. It's ads, right?
83, 87, something like that.
My point exactly. Thank you for thinking for me. Appreciate you, Diallo. Party was disastrous for us since January. That's a fact. That is your opinion.
Not
Was
disastrous,
he disastrous?
but yes, he had bozo moments. Yeah.
Okay.
So did Saliba as well.
Did Mo
Well,
say
we
the
don't
same
deny
thing
that.
about Moreno? Yes, I said Moreno's a good player, but Moreno was never Zubamendi. Moreno is a good player, but also you have to put in factor that the guy couldn't run or kick a ball for 2 months when he just joined.
Get up on the screen, bro.
Oh my God. So the agreement is done. So you got João Pedro. Okay.
Nice one.
Okay.
That's 2 in the door. 2 forwards we needed, man. I'm happy with that. Now give me kudos. I'm assorted.
50 million. 50 million pounds.
Minor. Alanga's going for 45 million. I'm calm.
That's actually a very good deal for João Pedro. Man United paid for Cunha 62 and they're about to pay 65 for.
And he's 24 years old.
Okay, great segue. Who here thinks that the Chelsea new front line,
23. Sorry, my bad.
that the Chelsea new front line, João Pedro, Delap, and Gittens can actually take Chelsea to the promised land?
What's the promised land?
And
Challenge
when?
for the league.
The
Wait,
promised
challenge
land
for the
being.
league
Wait,
or
hold on.
win the
Wait.
Promised land.
Mike, I
Backstep.
know, Mike. Let me just clarify something. Mo, don't disrespect my fan base on my football club. The promised
Why?
land is winning. It's not challenging. Let's make
Next
that
season is challenging. Next season is
wait,
challenging.
Don't say promised land is challenging. It's definitely not
Quick
challenging.
question.
I'm very clear.
Quick question.
Go on,
Yeah,
Mike.
but your manager
If I'm-
said it's a process.
If I'm not
Manager.
mistaken, I think I did this research a couple weeks ago. I might be wrong on like maybe one season, but in the last 8 seasons, or maybe it's since 2019, Chelsea have only finished above 70 points twice. And the Premier League winners have been anywhere from 86 to like 97 points. So let's just be pragmatic here and say that next season's winner is going to be at 89 points. Do we think that those 2 players are going to be a 20-point difference in the season? I don't know. If that happens, fantastic, right? But I think that this is a step in the right direction. And I think that Chelsea fans right now, the goal should be we need to improve. The goal should be we need to finish on 80 points. The goal should be we need to finish above 75
Bro,
points.
80 points means you basically kinda
But
in the
Chelsea
mix.
haven't finished above 70 for well over half of the last 8 years. And that's not even close to winning the title. I'm just saying I think Chelsea are moving great. I think Chelsea are doing a fantastic job. I still think they need to, if I'm not mistaken, I still think they need to replace Robert Sanchez. But regardless of that, they've been playing well in the Club World Cup. No one can deny the creativity they have. No one can deny the youth that they have. But I don't think that any Chelsea fan on the face of the earth should be approaching next season and saying, my expectation is to win the title. It should be, if I win the title, fantastic. But I want to be in and around that, meaning I want to be above 80 points. I want to show that I can compete up until the final day of the season. If I happen to get far in the Champions League or the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, bingo. Anything above that is exceeding expectations. Anything below that is below expectations. I just think
but I don't think there's an expectation because their manager came out and said a few months ago it's a process.
fans and manager are completely different.
Chelsea board said there's no pressure to challenge right now. It needs to wait until 4 years. So I don't. So there's no expectation for them. I don't think when once you get a
Okay,
manager
what they
that
say
comes out and
externally
says
and what
that,
they say internally are two different things, though.
Yeah. Fans speak much
If
differently, and I think that
you believe what
yeah.
managers in the media say, you're just respectfully.
well,
a bit
yeah,
naive.
because when you were in a kind of tighter race the last season, and your manager came out and said, "No, this is top 4 race. We need to achieve top 4," and your form slightly dropped from that point of the season.
I personally think
It's
when people use that
because your
argument,
manager installed the mentality on the players.
yeah,
If
that's
your manager come into the dressing room and say, "We're gonna have to go and win this title. We're only 3 points behind Liverpool," then the players will have to give 110%. But if your manager come out and say in the press conference, "Well, we should only aim for top 4," what does it say about the players then?
it might. Let me say this. Yeah, I think that's lazy analysis. Maybe I could say confirmational bias. You could say, whereas like your team fell off, your manager said you won the title race. 1 + 1 = 2. Close the book. Case done. I think is a bit more in depth than that. We had no squad depth. The management made tactical errors.
You had 42 players. What do you mean squad depth?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The tactics were poor in terms of the manager himself. The players ran off a cliff. Injury proneness here, injury spine finish. Fafana, Lavia finish, and the manager didn't trust the squad depth we had. Got rid of players like Vega. Got rid of players like Carney, who we thought was squad depth. Didn't even rate them, and they haven't really done anything since they've been on loan. What's Felix done in AC Milan? Nothing. That's what I thought, and that's my point. The squad depth we thought we had last summer didn't work. So this summer, they needed to get better players.
So what tells you that Gittens will work then? What tells you that Gittens will work?
Nothing. That's the whole point. If your argument is Chelsea spent 1.5 billion,
okay.
We should have won the league last year. But unfortunately, my owners have gone for an approach I've seen a million times for 3 years now, which is to build a spine of a team. Mike said it perfectly, why I smiled. He said Chelsea have not accumulated more than 70-ish points in like 10 years, basically. So what Chelsea are trying to do...
2 times you have.
There we go.
2
times, right? And we've won the league those times, I think. Right? The whole point of Chelsea...
Yeah. No,
I think
one of them, yes. The other one, no.
One was top 3, Tuchel.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah. My point is that they're trying to build a team that can sustain and get to those points that Mike's talking about over a long period of time, and not just fall off, fall on. Win the league, drop off. Win the Champions League, drop off. Because Chelsea hasn't won that many leagues in the last 20 years under Roman. Won 5. City's just won 6 out of 7 or 6 out of 8. That's dominance. That's what you want. You build a team, you grow it, good recruitment, bang, you win titles in a row. Cool. That's the pinnacle of football, right? So these kind of signings I'm very happy about because they're in the Prem, they've shown what they're about, they're still young age bracket, and it's a very marketable price. 50 million, I'm calm with that. If it was like 60, 70, getting a bit spooky. 50 million, keep it moving.
What's your assessment on of the recruitment in the last 12 months?
It's got me what I wanted, so I can't really complain too much. I said beginning of the season, Mo, I've been on these teams for years. I said I went top 4 on the trophy, and we got both. So I can't now sit here and go, what a terrible recruitment. Yes, in the season, the context was we challenged for the league. But do I think we would have won it regardless if we dropped off or not? No. So it would have been more semantics if I stayed until March. Fair enough. But my point is, if we needed to improve the overall team in terms of quality, fill in the gaps, which we're doing right now, I think next year we can challenge. Do I think we'll hit the point totals we need to win it? We'll have to see who we sign. Like everyone said, we need a goalkeeper, still need a centre-back and left-back cover.
I believe you're going to sign a goalkeeper and centre-back.
But I also, that's what I was going to say, because Mike mentioned it earlier.
I genuinely, by the way, I'm not saying this for clicks. I believe you're going to sign a centre-back and a goalkeeper.
No, I think the narrative will start to change. So right now, people are going, João Pedro is good. Gittens is unproven. I think if we did sign a Kudos, Marian that we linked to before, and a Hikampe, then people start going, whoa, this young team, there's quality around the pitch. There's 2 players at each position. He can play there. Kudos and Palmer. Gittens can start, or Pedro can go on the left. Esteval comes in. Delap, whatever it has to be, right? People start changing the narrative. But like someone said about Arsenal as well, you can't judge it until it's done. So we're going to have to see what else we add on top of this to see how good the chance of winning actually is. But right now, I'm in the calm position. And we make no sales. So I'm calm.
You're in the competition of what?
Sorry?
You are in the competition for the league.
No, I said we're in a calm position. And we
You're
haven't
in
had
a
much
calm
start.
position.
Yeah, like we're in a good
One-
position, like getting players over the line, which is important.
One thing, listen, one thing that I used to give Chelsea a lot of shit for was the amount of money that they're spending. But like the more I sit here and I think about it, I just like I don't see it as a point to like talk down, right? Like if a club can spend that much money to try and get a player without bankrupting themselves, which it seems that they're not going to be bankrupting themselves, then who cares, right? Like me and you would look at Jeff Bezos renting out the entire city of Venice and spending $60 million on a wedding to be ludicrous. But Jeff Bezos wipes his ass with $60 million. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying here? So, you know, if you want to sit here and you want to say, oh, look at them spending more money, like who cares? Because money is clearly inconsequential to this organization. The fact is that it doesn't matter how much money you spent on in the past. They're making improvements. They're now on to the quarterfinal of the Club World Cup. Whatever you think about the competition, I don't care. I think it's a little ridiculous that it's being played in America, but that's just a personal grievance of mine. Regardless of that, they're in a competition. They just won a European trophy. Who cares if it's the smallest one of all of them? They won a trophy. Their next step, finish above 70 points. Their next step, you know what? Maybe we can do even better than that. That's not to say that maybe we'll win the league this season, but we're going to try to get as close as we possibly can. And if they sign a goalkeeper and if they sign a center back, I'm not going to sit here and confidently say, listen, 100%. If those happen, I'm not going to sit here and be confident when I go away to Stamford Bridge. I'm not going to sit here and be confident when Chelsea comes to Anfield.
I said a lot of people on my stream earlier, right? Because we're excited about the news. More content to do now. Big up João Pedro. But the narrative will change on. I'm calling it now for the stream, so I can go back to it. The narrative will start to change on Chelsea when people will start seeing the signs of the signings we get, perceived from the media and rivals, which we need. So if we get a goalkeeper, which everyone thinks we need, and a centre back that everyone rates, who's young, whatever, because he's probably going to be young, I think a lot of people are going to start to say Chelsea should be going for the league. Right now, a lot of you are looking at us going, decent team, good midfield, the attack's inconsistent, whatever, the defence is okay, third best in the league, by the way. But I think a lot of people will change their stance once we get the goalkeeper centre back. Even I will change my stance. So I'm willing to see this out. I'm willing to see it out. Like a lot of Chelsea fans say.
Instead of signing Gittens, if you got João Pedro, Delap, and if, for example, you sign Kudus, for example, on the left, people would actually be scared of Chelsea to actually try to challenge for the league, plus the centre back and the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, we're still linked to Kudus.
The only signing that makes people skeptical is Gittens.
Yeah, but I understand that though, because he's not done it for a very long time. So I understand.
He's very young as well. Right?
Yeah, like by the way, he has a good Champions League record. He outscored most of your forwards, right? Leao, Rodrygo, bring them to the table. He outscored all of them in the Champions League. They play a new system. He's out of favour there. Fair enough. I'm not going to rate him like he's the next coming of Neymar. But at the same time, I'm not going to say he's rubbish. I think a lot of people didn't see how he plays. He might perform like Doku and do okay and help us win more trophies.
It helps that he's English as well, and he grew up in England. Wasn't he a Man City youngster?
Yeah, it was Man City. Then Reading, Man City. Then he went to Germany and done his thing for
okay.
Not that long. So here's the thing. People question the model because it's not won anything. So let's see how it plays out. I'm willing to let it play out. I think it's going to work.
We'll see how it goes. A great signing for Chelsea. João is a phenomenal player. I don't know why Arsenal didn't sign him. I thought Arsenal would have been an option for them. João Pedro, quickly, guys, before I move to Man City for the last 5-10 minutes. João Pedro or Eze? With age as well.
Arsenal?
Arsenal?
No.
For anybody. João Pedro or Eze?
I would take João Pedro at Liverpool over Eze at Liverpool. 100%.
I'll go for Eze.
I'm going to be biased to say João Pedro.
I don't need another midfielder. I need a striker.
I've already got Palmer. Why do I need Eze? I've got Enzo Fernandez.
Is João Pedro a striker or like a winger?
I think Eze is a better potential player, but it's all dependent on what your club needs. I don't need Eze in my club as a Liverpool fan. That's why I say João Pedro. But I would understand if Arsenal said Eze over João Pedro. I would understand if City said
Eze is 27
over João Pedro.
Pedro is 23. There's a
No,
big
no,
age.
what-
3 years difference only, right?
Four,
26
four.
versus 27.
23.
27.
Yeah, 23, 27. That's quite a big
Okay,
difference
fair
in
enough.
age.
When Liverpool spends
Yeah, but
250 million
one is a
under the
winner.
club, who's the winner?
There's it. You just won the cup.
Because he won the cup. Oh
Yeah.
my god, this narrative from
It's
City fans.
it's that club's first trophy in their history. That fucking means something.
Yeah,
It means
he scored. He scored in the final. He's a winner. What are we doing here?
When Liverpool spends 250 million under Jurgen Klopp in his third season, the rival said he needs to win, but Chelsea spent 2 billion and there is no expectations to win the league.
That's
Fair
not what the
enough,
net
Jay.
spend was. That's not what the net spend was.
No, he didn't say net spend. He said you spent 250 million.
Yeah, and because we made 180 million.
By the way,
That's so-
Jay
that's
is
so
slagging off
disingenuous.
Chelsea, not Liverpool. You're. Why is it disingenuous?
Because you're saying we spent
Okay,
250
can you
million.
calm
You know, never
down,
mind,
calm
never mind,
down,
never
and
mind.
read the super chat. Read the super chat. It's not
I get
slagging
it.
off Liverpool.
I get it. It's all good.
It's slagging off Chelsea. It's not Liverpool. Jay, all I have to say is that I keep saying that there should be expectations for Chelsea that are higher than challenging for the league. Getting top 5 or top 4. They should challenge for the league, but no one wants to hear it because Chelsea sign youngsters. So if Arsenal sign Gittens, everyone will actually say top 3rd is okay. PSG clearly hate teams with Inter in their name. Absolutely. That looks like the case. My man here is saying we need a left back more than a center back. We don't need Kodos. Are you an Arsenal fan? Who's we? You're an Arsenal fan. Oh no, that's a Chelsea fan, 100%. An Arsenal, that's a definitely Chelsea fan. An Arsenal shirt and a bottle as I had, that's definitely a Chelsea fan. You don't need a left back. That's definitely a Chelsea fan.
Why do you think there's a Chelsea fan trolling? That actually might be
Because he's having the Arsenal with the bottle as the person.
No,
Come on,
actually-
Jed. You know that's your
a fair
fan.
representation of an Arsenal fan, no? Like that's their experience.
No.
But
Also,
Arsenal
you
fans
said
won't
we-
say that about themselves.
The comment is on basis of what you said, because you said if you can get Kudus, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm
There
joking.
you go.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
By the way, Mo, for context, we're still going for Kudus. That's confirmed.
Fuck off.
I'll be deadly serious.
How do you know this?
What?
Because it's been brought by Ben Jacobs and Simon Phillips that Chelsea were going for Gittens for the left wing, Pedro to play striker and left wing, and then Kudus to be the cam or right winger. So it will be one of Jackson or Noni will probably leave.
Can I ask a question? Okay, that's actually fair. We're just going to see if Chelsea sign all of these. You must win the league then. If you sign 3-4, you must win the league. I want to ask something. Are City actually ahead of every club at the current moment?
Are City ahead of every club?
That's what City fans think. They're coming back.
What do you mean ahead?
Like, are you favorite? Are you like better than Arsenal, Liverpool, even though you finished behind both of them last season?
Yeah.
Didn't you really finish even above Chelsea?
Well, I'm not saying the favourite is always the champions, isn't it? And the favourite
Okay.
to win the league is Liverpool. But
Can I ask why are City assuming that they're going to be better than Arsenal next season? Where is the assumption coming from? I'm being serious.
We said we're going to be better than Arsenal.
A lot of people think that Arsenal would be 3rd and City and Liverpool is going to be City again.
It's probably because City is addressing the issues with the problems that we faced last season, and maybe perhaps that we've won 4 in a row. We know how to win the title.
Yeah, but you had Kevin De Bruyne, you had Gundogan at his prime.
Yeah, but the core of the team is still there. If you look at the core of the team, the goalkeeper is still there, Ederson.
It's getting better. It's getting worse by the minute. It's getting worse by the season. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Ruben Diaz and Vardio, who are Premier League champions.
Gavardio amazing. You don't have a right back yet.
You've got Rodri, who's the Ballon d'Or and won three Premier League titles.
Yeah.
And you've got Erling Haaland, who won 2 Premier League titles. Yeah. And then you've got Phil Foden, and plus the additions of the new transfers. It's just a case of wait and see, innit? But
do you think Foden is going to go back to his best and be one of the best players in the league?
Need to remember that Pep Guardiola is our manager.
Yeah, that's main factor here. That's the main factor. That's the main. But so you think if Rodri gets injured again in the beginning of the season, are you going to be able to compete?
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
So why
because
didn't you compete last season?
because we didn't have anyone to replace Rodri up until January.
Until Nico Gonzalez came in.
Yeah,
You think
we
he's a
didn't
good
have
player?
anyone. I was either playing Gundo in there or Kovacic. To be fair to Kovacic, he was at the beginning of the season, he was kind of playing well up until he got injured in October. This is where the team also, there was a massive drop off in the team. But without having a natural number 6, remember Kovacic is more of a natural box-to-box midfielder, which is, I like Kovacic, he's a really good player. But at the same time, I feel like we kind of have the enough cover for the team, because we've got Reinders now who can play as a sick ball. We also have Nico Gonzalez who can take the pressure off Rodri in that sense. So I'm
Let me
calm.
let me ask everyone: do you guys think genuinely that City will be ahead of Arsenal this season?
I don't know.
It's hard to say, man, with City, because when it's all on paper, right? Like they sign those big names, but what does that really mean in terms of on the pitch? I don't know. The defense hasn't really leveled up. I'm not too sure. Tough one.
That's what I'm saying. The defense
I
has
think
not
it's
been.
really hard to predict.
I think-
It's really hard to predict. It's like everyone's assuming Liverpool are going to remain the same and improve because of Wirtz, and they've improved the fullback positions arguably. And then we're assuming Man City improve because they've signed Syria's best midfielder, a creative outlet in France who's quite young and promising, and Marmoush, who's there for a few months, and the players they bought in January now acclimatized to the league. And Arsenal will improve. It's hard to predict, really.
I think the reason why we're confident is because obviously we had a bad season in the last 5 years. This is probably our worst season, apart from the one which Liverpool won in 2020, where we finished, I think, 18 or 20 points off Liverpool. We finished 13 points off Liverpool and I think 3 behind Arsenal. And this is being seen as one of our worst seasons. Pep Guardiola doesn't have back-to-back seasons like that. And last time he had it, when Liverpool won the title, he went out there, addressed the situation in terms of address the defense, the midfield, and he went on 1 foot in a row. But I'm not saying that he's going to happen again, because football is a funny game. But I kind of believe that we've got the right manager to make that team click, and I feel like the club themselves, they look at the issues. Even our chairman came out and said, what happened last summer should not happen again. We got complacent in terms of we just went with the same team, but we acknowledged the problem and we started to address the issues from January, and we will do more in the summer. And we basically say we're going to have a squad ready for the Club World Cup, which wise they brought the three players. And in terms of I've been very impressed about Nouri. I feel like he's going to be a superb signing. From what I've seen so far, the guy is quality. Reinders has been bossing the midfield in that tournament, so I've got no problem with that. Cherky, he's still adapting, but he can kind of see his brilliance. But there's no pressure on Cherky because the team is there. Phil Foden, it looks like he's coming back, but we don't know. You just have to allow him, give him time. Rodri starts his first game, and he looked really good. Can't lie. And we've got a 25-30 goal striker up front. So I cannot see why I don't see why we're going to struggle this season. I feel like the backroom staff's changed. We kind of see the way we play has changed slightly, rather than going to the same U-shaped football that we saw last season, where it's just side to side, boring. We struggle to break teams down, and you can see that Pep is kind of changing as well. Like when you bring players like Cherky or Nouri, who are very technical players, they will be very, very good when you play lower blocks, because they can unlock defense. They can dribble, rather than going last season. He was going through Vardio, a left back. Listen, Vardio has been a very decent sign, but he's not left back, is it? Like when you go into the final third, he can't cross because he's a centre half. Whilst you've got Nouri, when he gets into the byline, he got to put a decent cross in the box. So it's going to be quite interesting, but we just have to wait and see. We still need to, especially we're going to come up with some tough opponents in this Club World Cup, and we're going to have a clear picture of where Man City are at. So
we'll see how it goes. But for me, go ahead.
It's just, to me, everything is dependent on the level at which Rodri comes back, because I think that ACL in all sports is potentially the most devastating injury that any player can get. Now, given how mobile and physical Rodri needs to be throughout 90 minutes, week in, week out, I'm not saying that he's not going to.
He doesn't need to be playing 90 minutes week in, week out.
No, all I'm saying is that regardless of how much time he's playing, there is no guarantee that he comes back as the same Rodri. Now, that also isn't to say that he's not 95% Rodri, which I think is plenty good enough, but we just don't know. And that's too big of an injury for me to speculate without seeing it, right?
Yeah.
I think that Pep has proven in the past that there's a reason why he is the best manager, a best manager in the world. But I mean, if you were to look at the way that sports work and the way that cycles work, now would be the time, if he were going to fall and fall hard, it would be this season. So I think that this is really like the ultimate test of last season. My entire thing collapsed because I lost that pivotal pillar. That pivotal pillar is coming back. I need to make sure that he's fully healthy, but also I need to make sure that I don't replicate this, because, in ways, that's sort of the way that these things happen. Kevin De Bruyne, probably your most important offensive player, no longer at the club. Bernardo Silva doesn't look like the same Bernardo Silva that I used to absolutely despise playing against. Obviously, Phil Foden is coming off the back of a poor season. That isn't to say that these things are going to happen again, but if all of the stars were to align of the of the City reign of dominance to fall, this is sort of how I would see that happening. Not to mention the fact that last season, it didn't look like Pep wanted to use the players that he brought in other than Marmoush on a consistent level. And you still have to find room for Marmoush. But again, this is all speculation, because I'm not going to ever doubt them. I think that I have to put them ahead of Arsenal solely just based on merit. But it's very easily that this could just turn the coin, and all of a sudden this could be the beginning of the end.
I think for me, I don't see the need of him have to play Rodri week in, week out 90 minutes. Consider you've addressed that situation in the summer anyway, and in China transfer window. And even the Club World Cup, Rodri doesn't play 90 minutes. He just gets subbed off. Once the game is once you 2-3 up, Rodri gets some rest, sit down, then the guys just come up. But I agree, when even last season, he wasn't really picking up the players. I feel like it comes down to trust. I feel like these world-class managers, they've got a certain level of trust. They've got a group of players where they trust 100%. Because last season the aim was like, all right, we need to get into the top 4. We need to get to the Champions League football, and we had Newcastle in there, Nottingham Forest as well, Arsenal, because Arsenal only got in top 4, I think, at Anfield, like in the penultimate game, or was it the game before when they won? But Pep Guardiola looked at it, right? Okay, I have to put the guys I trust in terms of Bernardo Silva, because we've been in the title race for 4 consecutive seasons, and he had that group of players where they got over the line for him. When it come to the end of the season, March, April, May, them same group of players, they were like, right, we have to go out there and win the title. Week in, week out, win. Even in the treble season, because let's forget that them same group of players, they had Liverpool on their back with Sadio Mane, Firmino, and Salah, 99 points. Do you know what I mean? Like 94 or 97. Well, Man City was just there. I feel like when he had an objective, which was finish top 4, and he kind of trusts the same players that got him the 4 titles in a row to get that top 4 for them, which is kind of understandable. If even Klopp, when you watch Klopp, people were kind of questioning Klopp, well, why you keep persisting with James Milner or Ederson like week in, week out? It's because he trusts that group of players, because that the same player that brought him to success that he had at Liverpool. But yeah, I feel like when the Club World Cup finish, he has to make a decision. Like players like Gundo, he needs to move on from this player. They can't stay, because otherwise we're just gonna have a squad full of players and we won't be able to utilize all of them. I feel like there is an offer on the table from Galatasaray or Fenerbahce for Gundo, 30 odd million, 20 odd million. Sell him. Just sell him. Yeah, just sell him. There's no point of keeping him. If there is an offer for
they got him on a free from Barcelona, and they want to sell him for money.
Yeah, that's how you run a football club. So yeah, you got to sell him. You have to look at players like Bernardo. They cannot offer what they used to. Like the game has changed, and if you've got an offer for him, just consider selling him, man, because you've got hungry players like Echeverri. I know he's very young, but he looked like a proper player in there.
Anyway, to be honest with you, like
the issue I have with City is they haven't addressed the Rodri situation. I know Nico Gonzalez has come in January, but every time he's played, he hasn't really done what a Rodri can do. And I know there isn't really a player on the planet who can.
No one does it.
I know. But what I'm saying is that
Caicedo,
even
give Pep Guardiola Caicedo for one season to coach him.
You love Caicedo, don't you?
I like him.
No, but
I like Caicedo a lot. I like Caicedo a lot. He's a fantastic and a phenomenal player. What are you talking about?
How can you not like him? What kind of question
he's not Rodri now. No one have said that he's Rodri today, but Rodri's product that we see today is after him being coached under Pep Guardiola for 3, 4, 5 years until he reaches peak. Probably after 4 years, because he joined in 2019, he won the treble in 2023. Give Caicedo to Pep Guardiola and give him 4 years of coaching, and let's see the end product. But Caicedo's never going to be Rodri. A lot of City fans, I was in the stadium in 2019 watching Rodri come out at halftime, and people are like, he's not that good. Can we replace Fernandinho with him? But look at him now, winning Ballon d'Or. So just to say about the Caicedo, but people, I know that City fans get so triggered when we mention anyone that can be Rodri.
We can use the same analogy to the likes of Nico Gonzalez and Rangers.
No, but Nico Gonzalez doesn't have Caicedo ability.
No. When you said that Rodri took time, when you said that Rodri took time to adapt to Pep's style, and Pep had to take like 2 years to develop him, we can also
Nico Gonzalez, of course. Pep Guardiola is the best coach in the world, and is no doubt about it. He can develop a lot of players. Any player, I think.
He made Delph into a top class.
Because right now,
the guy is a genius.
The main concern is no longer the midfield. The main concern last season was the midfield. I feel like we addressed that. But right now, the main concern is the right back. It's not acceptable for a club like Man City going 2 seasons without proper right back. It's just not acceptable. We have to go out there and get a right back. Whether it's Livramento or not, spend the money. Get a right back.
We'll see how it goes. But listen,
I cannot go into a third season.
You're gonna get a right back. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, centre halves playing right back. No. The game has moved on. The game, you've seen PSG, the quality from Hakimi. Do you know what I mean? Like, play right backs into right backs and play centre halves in that centre half position. Stop playing centre halves and left back and right back. Do you know what I mean? We've done that before. Listen, we worked in the treble. We won the treble. Cool, but the game's moved on now. Just change a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
We'll see how it goes. Today, Eze is better a player than João Pedro. Maybe. Be honest. Maybe that's. Maybe. I think it's a conversation. I feel like City didn't address their actual issues, which were related to physicality and lack of legs. They just said, fuck it, let's sign bowlers. Reinder has a lot of legs. He runs a lot on the pitch.
Yeah, Reinders will cover a lot of ground.
He runs a lot on the pitch, to be honest with you. My man here, Uchi, saying Chelsea paying 55 plus 5 add-ons. They literally said 50 million.
Yeah,
What
it's
did you
50,
get?
I think it's 50 plus 5. Either way, it's good. It's a good price.
It's a good price anyway, guys. But listen, I want to thank everyone that joined us here. Appreciate you, Shes, for joining at the end. Say that again.
No, some of your comments, some of the people, you know, when we have our streams, you read the comments and people they're clueless. You said Caicedo's poor at passing. I mean,
Caicedo's good for our passing.
Anyway,
guys, check this channel in the description as well. Thank you, Des, for joining Matthias and my man Souls. Appreciate you guys. This will take you to Football Terrace when they are talking about João Pedro, if you're talking in Portuguese. We'll see you guys soon.
What's the title on the terrace? You probably put some